Rebellion, the development studio behind Atomfall, have just released a massive gameplay video on their latest DLC, The Wicked Isle. Now, this is the first in a series of extra DLCs that are going to be coming along for the Atomfall base game. We don't know anything about any others, but the team have said in this video that this is just the first, so we could be seeing some pretty cool stuff in the future. What that's going to entail is yet to be seen, but this video is awesome. It shows all of the new features, all of the new weaponry, all of the new enemies, and loads of cool stuff. If you do want to check out the full video, it will be in the link in the description down below. And whilst you're down there, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, and stick around for much more Atomfall and other RPG titles. We're going to be covering a little bit of GTA 6, and also we cover Starfield. Now, this gameplay trailer is jam-packed full of features, but if you don't know when the game releases, it releases on the 3rd of June, so just under a week away, and it is available to all players that have the deluxe or premium edition of Atomfall. And if you are playing on Game Pass, you can upgrade to the deluxe edition. Now, to upgrade to the deluxe edition, it comes in at £20.99 on Xbox and on Steam. Not too sure what the price is on PlayStation, but I'd assume it's around the same. And it features loads of cool stuff. I think for that price, for what the base game was and how it ties back into the base game as well, is actually quite good. I don't know how many hours of content are going to be in this DLC, it doesn't really say, but it is jam-packed with content. There's new factions, the Monk's Grove, new enemies such as lake bandits, and new water variants of the feral creatures that you come into contact with in caves. There's new weapons like the Wonderbus, the Rapid Blade, and the Speed Arrows. Loads of cool stuff in there. We get to see how some of this works, but they have said they're going to do a deep dive into the functions and what all the extra equipment is going to do. As well as that, there's new mysteries and new skills that we'll be able to use and utilize. One of those skills is the ability to crush enemies, which is quite insane. So you can become infected and have the strength of like a feral, and you'll be able to crush enemies, which will actually enable you to move around a lot more stealthy because there's no dead bodies. So that is actually quite a cool feature. The downside is you are going to be infected whilst doing that. There's no news yet as to what the actual buffs and debuffs are going to be on that, whether we'll see a very enhanced rate of life loss whilst using it, or whether it will be just be like it is in the base game and you lose a little bit of life whilst you're infected, but it's not the end of the day. You can push through it with some meds. Now, the new island it's located on is Midsummer Isle, which is a whole new island, well, as mentioned in the DLC, which features a dockyard, small villages that have been overrun by everything that is you see in all of the Windscale facilities. It pretty much looks like a Windscale facility mixed in with Wyndham Village, which does seem really quite cool and creepy. There's going to be clouds overhead, so it's going to be much more of a darker setting than going through Wyndham Village and some of those other areas that are in the base game. There's also going to be a bard facility on the island that you'll be able to explore. It is not connected, though, however, to the main bard or any of the other islands. The only way you move backwards and forwards is through a small boat, and you will need to move backwards and forwards because some of the storyline is tied in to the original game, which could lead to different endings. You're going to need to go down to the dockyard and travel between the two locations to find various clues that are dotted around. As well as that, connecting into the main story and potentially changing how the actual main storyline ends is quite cool. And there's also a new questline featuring the new faction of Monk's Grove. Now, Monk's Grove are a new faction that believe in something ancient that ties them to the land. They're very mysterious. We haven't seen too much of them yet, but hopefully we learn a little bit more in the coming days. Now, having that connection to the mainland and the Windscale facility also brings with it something else. The operator is still with you. So how he's going to play into this, I'm not too sure. Now, if you've completed the main game, you'll know what the operator is and whether you help them or not, or whether you go against them. There's loads of ways that the game can actually end depending on what you've done. I was going to get a gameplay ending and all of the scenarios put together in a video, but I just haven't had the time to get around to it. But overall, the ending is quite cool. I'd highly recommend playing through at least once before trying the Wicked Isle. The game did launch, 3 months ago now, so I'm assuming most people would have finished it by now. With the new faction and the storylines that tie into them, there's also going to be upgrades available for your current loadout. So loadouts that you've brought with you from the mainland. Those things such as the metal detector will be able to be upgraded, which will give you special abilities to find certain buried caches that have been left there by Monk's Grove, or potentially descendants of Monk's Groves. That's going to be another part of the storyline. I'm very excited to see where they go with this. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping it is a lengthy DLC, at least Now, as well as all the new weapons, and obviously the strange ability that lets you turn your enemies into a pile of mush on the floor, there's also new craftable items, such as poison arrows. There's loads of other little bits that will be able to heal you and improve your health, and a tonic that allows you to infect yourself, which then allows you to do the weird head crushing thing. And if I didn't mention it already, there's a blunderbuss, which is quite cool. It's basically a double-barreled shotgun that's just been tweaked a little bit so it looks like a blunderbuss. And then obviously you've got the speed arrows as well. And then the strange dagger that does more damage against ferals. Now, as mentioned, obviously being able to craft the arrow poison, there is also a strange ingredient that I'm not too sure what it is. Now, as you can see, there's also these different daggers as well. So I'm assuming they will be able to give different sort of debuffs on the enemies. Maybe one will give poison, one will give fire. And then obviously the cutlass looks pretty damn cool. The blunderbuss and the cutlass, and then this strange thing here looks like some sort of mace without the metal bits on. But what these are, I'm not too sure. I don't know if these are parts of what Oberon is, or they're used for crafting. But they are quite big, so I'd imagine they're on the same side of like fuel cells. They're important, you can craft with them, but they're hard to come by. So we'll have to wait and see where they go with this and what it actually is. But it's definitely interesting. Provides sort of like 3-4 hours of story at a bare minimum. The main game, I think I've spent, 60 hours in it? Maybe a little bit more than that. Just going around doing loads of stuff. We've gathered loads of blueprints, all of that cool stuff, all of the skills. So it was a long time just doing that, really. But the storyline itself, I think it must have been about 8 to 12 hours, and I've played through it twice. So there's a decent amount of there's a decent amount of time that you can get out of the main game. So I'm hoping this, especially at the price of $20.99 for that upgrade. So basically just one DLC at the moment. Whether they'll be pricing on another DLC, we'll have to wait and see, or whether this will include future DLCs. There's no news on that yet. As mentioned before, there's no news on the future DLCs yet, so we'll have to wait and see where they go. For now, though, we are going to wrap that one up there. We'll be back on Monday with our full Watchtower playthrough of Starfield, and then on the 3rd, we'll be back with some more Atomfall, and any news that we have between now and the release. For now, that's it from me, though. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. I've been Cowboy, you've been awesome, and we'll see you in the next one.